In first session of functions, we studied about built-in functions and modules. Third category of functions is user-defined functions. So what a user-defined function is? As the name suggests, it is a function which is made by the user as per the requirement. Like in built-in function, we cannot change the code. It is already created in the programming language. We have to use it as it is. But in user-defined function, if there is a requirement of a user which cannot be fulfilled by a predefined function, then we can create our own function as per the requirement. Before starting writing of these functions, we must understand two terms. First one is parameter and second is arguments. So parameter and arguments are two alternative terms which are used in any type of function. Let's take an example and try to understand what is the difference between parameter and arguments. I am writing a function here and there is some body part. Here I am calling this function add and I am using value 2, 4. I am just giving an overview of a function. I am not writing the function over here. This is just to understand these two terms, parameter and argument. If we can see def, this is a keyword. Whenever we want to create our own function, we need to write that function using this keyword def. Now add is the name of my function. Because it is a user defined function, then we can give our own names to the function. Now the things to understand here that I am using two variables a, b. That means this function will take two values and do some processing on it, which I have not written here. But it is very much clear with this definition that this function needs two values. That's why when I am calling this function here, I am giving or I am passing two values to it. You can pass any value. Now, these a, b are called parameters. And when you pass some value to this, these are called arguments. Understand the difference? A, B, whatever variable you are using at the time of definition are called parameters, and the values which you are using at the time you are calling a function are called arguments. So this is the basic difference between parameter and argument. These two are related terms. This is definition value and this is calling value. Right? Now we can move further. Various categories of user defined functions. First category is a function with no parameter and return value. Second category is a function with no parameter and have a return value. Third is a function with parameter and no return value. You can guess the fourth one, a function with parameter and return value. a function without any parameter, without any return value. That means a function which is not using any of the parameter, it is empty and it is not returning anything in the body part. We will talk about it later what a return is, but if there is no return statement and there is no parameter, this is the first category of user defined function. In second category, a function with no parameter and have a return value, like this one. A function with no parameter but there will be a return value. In third category, a function with a parameter and no return value. Let's take parameter here. It will have a parameter, a b, a parameter, but it will not have any return value. And my fourth category is a function with parameter and return value. That means parameter भी available है और return भी available है. Parameters की value depend करती है the type of function you are creating. It can be 1, 2, 3 or any number of parameters you can take. So these are the basic 4 variations to create a user defined.
Let's start with the first variation of user defined function. In this function we will not use any parameter as well as no return type. So here I will start writing def, then the name of the function. Suppose I am creating a function to multiply two values. For that I am using name mul. You can give any name to a function. I am keeping it without any parameter. See, in this parenthesis there is nothing written inside. So this is without any parameter. In the body part, I want to take two input from the user, two integer values. Say I am asking for number 1 and in y I am asking user to enter number 2. So these two statements are input statements. In both I am converting the input into integer data type. So x and y will contain two integers. In z I am multiplying these two values x, y, and now I am printing the value of z. That's it. This is the body of my function. So I have defined one function with the name mul. It is not a built-in function. I have created it. So it is a user defined function and the name of the function is mul. Anytime in my program when I want to use this function, I need to write this name mul as it is. It is a case sensitive. If I have written it in small letters, then I have to call it with using small letters only. Now start running this program. Okay, let's save it. See, there is nothing in the output window. It is blank. Why it is blank? Because we have not called this function yet. This is my program, but in this program only the definition is there. A function cannot run by itself. You have to call it. So to call this function, I will write this statement. Now let's run the program. Here I got the first statement, that is enter the value for number 1. Suppose I am entering 10 for it, and for number 2 I am writing 6. Then 6 into 10, it will give me 60. Why it is giving me 60? Because here I am multiplying these two numbers. So this is the first variation. In this type of function, I have not written any parameter here and I have not used any return statement as well. Let's start working with second variation. In second variation, we need to write return statement without any parameters in the function. So I am just replacing this print statement with return statement. Return is a keyword, so return Z. If I start running this program at this point of time, suppose I'm writing 1 to first number, 4 to second number, it will not print anything here. Why? Because it has calculated the value of x into y, but that value is not printed inside the function. We have not written any print statement here, but I have returned this value. That means this function is giving an answer to this calling program. This is my definition and this is calling program. So if return statement is provided with the function definition, then you have to write it like this. Any variable name equals to call the program. Here you can print this answer, or you can use this answer in your program. Start running it. First number say 5, second number 8. 5 into 8, 40. So it is calculating the answer and it is printing inside the program, your program. Not inside the function definition, it is printing it in the program. So if you can compare these two programs, in the first variation I wrote print statement here, in second variation I wrote return statement. Second thing, in first variation no L value was used with the calling name, but in second variation you have to use a L value here. Or I can replace it like this, print MUL. You can directly call this function here. The returned value will be printed here. See, answer will remain same. This is the second way of calling such functions. Here you can use it inside the print statement, or you can use this MUL function in any formula where you need a value. This is the third variation with parameters without return statement. With parameters, and at the time of calling you have to provide arguments also. Compare it with the previous solutions in which there were no parameters, there were no arguments here. Both were empty. But if you are using parameters, you have to provide arguments, because these values are to be used inside the defined program. Here 7 is copied to A, 5 is copied to B. Now A contains 7, B contains 5. So Z will calculate 7 into 5. The answer is printed here. Now I can run it now. See, answer is 35. So this is the third variation of the user defined function. I think you can write the fourth variation now. A function with parameters and return statement. So just write return statement here. If I am writing return statement, I have to put this null function in the right hand side. So I am taking answer in V. V is my variable. You can write any variable. Now print this answer here. This is the small variation. Start running it. 35 is the answer. Same answer. Change the value. Run it. Answer is 85, because 17 into 5 will give you 85. So this is